What's up guys, and welcome to Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh arena of Valor content in 2022 as well. I've got something for you today which isn't so fresh anymore. I participated in the Saitama One Punch Man activity and I got RAZ Saitama Cosplay. And since I haven't featured that in a video, I want to take the chance today and get some RAZ gameplay up there. Someone was just writing that this hero is about to be at least one of the top tier mages in the current meta, and I wanted to take the chance to try out if that is the truth for me or maybe for you. But anyways, we're going to take a closer look on RAZ today. Starting off with the video, as always, I want to go through my equipment with you guys so that you know what I'm playing. And as you can see, we are playing a pretty standard build here. We've got Boomstick, we've got the Diadem, we've got the Evil Secrets, super evil RAZ Blessing, and because we're doing a lot of auto attacks, I'm taking Apocalypse here as well, with of course the boots, which are going to be the Gilded Greaves for the crowd control resistance. Arcana wise, I went with my usual mage damage build. As you can see, you get the bonuses which are stated on the right hand side of the screen. That comes from 10 times Violate for the ability power and the magic penetration. We do want some lifesteal and additional ability power. That comes from Devour. And last but not least is Hex with some cooldown reduction, which is actually quite nice on our S2, which is the bread and butter and the damage spell for him. And with the enchantments, I decided to go with full damage. Therefore, we've got Acts of Sacrifice, we've got the Holy Verdict in here, we've got the Holy Thunder to make our normal attacks or abilities a little bit stronger. I'm going with Enhanced Restore for some extra sustainability, and I've taken Raging Inferno over Gunslinger to boost our damage to another level. So this is the build, and let's see what I've done in the game, which is going to be quite entertaining. Let's go. And here we go. Let's talk about both team compositions at first, as I usually do during my videos. So we've got a pretty decent matchup. We've got Zill in the jungle. He has been nerfed or buffed or whatever with a hotfix recently. We've got Tara on the solo lane. We've got Aram and Valheim on the duo lane. And I'm going to play against Vera in the mage or the middle lane. As I said, I'm going up against Vera. We're going to have Yina against Tara on the solo lane. Necroth is going to be their jungler, and Rui as well as Rui and Elandor are going to be the ones that are trying to contest the duo lane against Aram and Valheim. So this is basically the setup, and as you can see, we have been already scoring the first blood in the first couple of seconds. That was really quick. I don't know what they did in the duo lane, but it didn't seem to work out properly, because otherwise Elandor would have still been staying. Coughing was a little bit better lately, but this time, I don't know, it's going back and forth. As I usually play my game, I always like to roam up whenever I see it possible. Therefore, I immediately made way to help Tara secure the kill against Ina, which worked out pretty fine. And my team is doing a good work on the enemy team, because now we already have a double kill, on the duo lane. So perfect start, perfect positioning for us, and this seems to be an Abyssal Dragon, which is basically uncontested by the enemy team in the first couple of minutes. And by couple, I mean the first 2 minutes. Great job here. Good teamwork. I really appreciate it. And so far, so good. Everything is looking quite bright in terms of our future. I really like the Saitama skin on RAZ because I think this is kind of like something that actually works out pretty well. I like the idea of being a cosplay character instead of just giving him a Saitama skin that doesn't really turn out in the most favorable way. I don't really like the skins where they just put something on characters that already exist in the arena of Valor and pretend that they are characters such as, for example, Caphany with her skin, which is going to be the Harley Quinn one. I don't see the effort in that, and therefore I kind of appreciated the moment when it was clear that RAZ is not getting a Saitama skin, but he's actually pretending to become Saitama. I don't know, he kind of read about the workout, which is 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10 kilometers of running, and everything like that for 100 days or something like that. I haven't watched One Punch Man so far, so I'm not really into that. Seen a couple of best matches of Saitama against crazy enemies on YouTube, so like a best of or something, but I haven't watched the anime yet, and I did not really find a source where I can watch it on demand. So if you have a good source which is legal, that's important to note, and you say like, this is a crazy anime, you should definitely watch it, just give me a hint. Put it in a private message on Discord. You're going to find the Discord link in the video description below, or just tell me. Just tell me something new. So in this case, I sacrificed myself for Tara to execute the kill. Sometimes measures like these are important for the overall competition, and I think we are in a pretty comfortable state where I can allow myself to do something like that, because I wanted to get her the tower, or let her get the tower. Unfortunately, now she's roaming down trying to get some of my farm, which isn't actually the way I planned it, but there's nothing that I can do against it. Full farm has been taken. Elandor is jumping back to safety. Zill is trying to make an entry, but at least we do get a kill and 175 gold, so I think that is enough for us to compensate for the minions that we have just lost while not farming properly. Again, my team is putting way hard pressure on the duo lane, like they can just hold it by themselves. And I know that some beginners are watching my channel. I mean, all the Masters and Conqueror or veteran players, you don't need this kind of information. But I would advise you to always pay attention to the minimap, and if you see that there's some grouping going on, for example, in the first couple of minutes on the bottom lane, try to get a feeling if they can handle the situation or if they need your assistance, because if not, you are just free to do whatever you want. And that might just mean that you are in the position to roam up to the top lane, support them instead of going down to the bottom lane, and it might be more beneficial for your team to actually find another way to create numbers and own a situation instead of just going down to the lane that's already winning anyways, and you might just not get any assists or any kills. The only thing that you're going to do is spend of your super precious time trying to do something which has already done by your team. So that's something which is quite important. For example, now I saw that the lane was under pressure, and therefore I decided to go down and support my team. I felt the urge of helping out because there is a cannon minion. I wasn't sure if they would be able to repel it, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on Necrof right now, trying to land every single S2 that I'm putting into the enemies. And with the nice little speed buff that you do get from just casting the spell, I was in the position to just kind of defend it without losing anything. Just a little health was lost but that's completely okay, that's completely fine, because now I can roam up to the mid lane, get some gold here, and go back to the game plan. Oh my goodness, here's a Landor. I need to find a way to exit this situation, and it worked out fine. So we've lost the defense, we've lost the tower at the bottom. I thought the guys were able to handle it, to defend it on their own, but all in all the game score is still fine. We are about to take the first tower on the top. Middle tower has already been taken by my team, so everything is set up in position for winning this game, and that's the most important thing. It's always something that you're looking for, to find angles, look for open spaces, and go into the enemy lines when they're not calculating this kind of damage. Now Vera comes in with a lot of damage, and I need to get out, but unfortunately Yina was a bit faster with her dashes, and I couldn't do anything against it. But Tara is still alive, she's still holding that lane, so everything is still okay-ish. My gold isn't the greatest because I was roaming around a lot. That's something that you should take into account as well. So roaming is nice, but you need to take assists, try to steal some minion farm from the enemies, and make sure that you get enough for a living. So it's important to not neglect farming because of the roaming, so it's always crucial to come back to your lane and see if there's some farm that you can get. And for example, in this case, we've got a Landor here, but as you can see, I was immediately retreating back to the lane to push the minions in order to get some gold, because I was seeing this kind of situation where I would actually go back and get some minions instead of just wasting time following up a hero, chasing him down through the jungle, which would not be helpful at all, because there's no way that I can get a Landor. He's one of the most mobile heroes in the game, so what am I about to do here? There's nothing that I can do to chase him. I've got 2 spells, and I need direct contact to make it work. But the second Abyssal Dragon of this match goes into our hands, so pretty nicely, trying to fire some fireballs into the enemies if they are still there. We don't know about that, but as your spells do not cost any mana, you should always try at least to get some damage in. Unfortunately, Nekroth was a little bit too far ahead and I wasn't able to get him. Thought about dashing in, and it worked. It worked out properly. Really nice. I was about to get Rui, like I was aiming for Rui to kill her because she's a real pain in the ass. But in this case, we've got Yina instead, and of course, I'm not going to complain about it because every single hero that has been killed on the enemy team is someone that is not able to defend the tower or def the base, so always try to hit those fireballs. Another thing that is worth mentioning, if you hit enough fireballs, or if you place enough fireballs into Necro, for example, he will less likely be able to get into your ranks, trying to jump in, do damage, and then jump out again. And that's of course something that's quite potential as well. So you want to soak up, you want to deal some damage to soften up enemies for your team. So for example, that Zil can jump in with his ultimate and you do just get some assists. It's not always about the kills, but it's about softening targets up for your damage dealers if you are not the damage dealer who can reach the enemy. Of course, RAZ is a pretty good damage dealer on his own because his spells are actually quite powerful. He's got enough crowd control to basically do something to the enemies if he wants to engage, but you should always be quite careful. Another 1000 damage, 1400 worth, 1500 damage two Vera have been placed here. I'm trying to poke them as much as possible to just make them hesitate to enter the fight. That was the plan in this situation, and it worked out properly because, as you can see, the enemy is already going back. I think we've split a little bit too much here because we had the upper hand, we had the objectives, and stretching it out too much can just be something that makes your team a little bit more vulnerable. But fair enough, we had a good game flow, so the team was basically putting the enemy on the spot, and the tower was taken with ease. Here's another bloodbath for our Tara. So Tara is just filling her tank role really nicely, and I think it was quite difficult for the enemies to deal with our team because we had two true tanks. Don't know what's going on with me in this scene. Overextended way too much, but at least we got the tower, and our Tara is still living happily ever after, because as you can see, her health points are basically completely untouched. Now Zil decided to put the Darkslayer onto the top lane. Might not have been the smartest choice, because as you can see, the enemy is able to whittle down the Darkslayer's health without any problems. But at least they have been occupied with taking that Darkslayer away from their lane, and therefore we had the chance to put some pressure on another tower, but unfortunately it did not really end up in another destroy tower. But I think the game is pretty much already solved. We are just crossing in, putting everything onto their forces, with Tara, Zil jumping in from the back line, with Valheim dealing some damage and causing some CC to appear. It was actually pretty nicely, and after I had the feeling that we would have had the weaker team, I was happy that it turned out in a completely different way. That said, in hindsight, we completely dictated them how we wanted to play the game. I'm having some fireballs here and there. Now I do get some day stuff from Vera's Kiss. But this just seems like one really meaningful last approach, getting that Dark Lord Slayer. And if we do get that uncontested, the game is pretty much over, I'd say. At least that was my impression when I was playing the game yesterday. So yesterday means the 1st of January. It already turned into the 3rd of January. And here we are closing in, taking another tower. I mean, the poking damage is just insane. Here we go, another kill for me to even my 3 devs out. That was important for me to do. So it wasn't the craziest game for me to play on RAZ, but I think what you can see, especially in the results afterwards, we had quite some we've got quite some impact on the overall outcome of the game. You're going to see that in the damage chart, which I'm going to show you in the detailed results right now. So I kind of like the skin, I kind of like RAZ gameplay. I don't know why I'm not playing him that often. I think I just like other mages a little bit more, for example Tulin or Natalia. My performance was the worst in the team with 8.4, but I was doing the 2nd most damage only contested by Valheim, and that's how crazy good RAZ is at the moment. So I hope you guys took something from the video. Always try to poke the enemies to death and then start to whittle them down with your other damage dealers, and then everything should sort out nicely. So stay safe, have a wonderful evening, and check back soon for another video.